Have you ever found yourself staring at a long list of files, wishing you could rename them all at once? It can be a real hassle, right? If that sounds like you, then stick around because today we're diving into how to rename multiple files in Visual Studio Code. I totally get it. Renaming files one by one can feel like a never-ending chore, especially when you have a ton of them. You're not alone in this frustration. Many users have faced the same issue. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. One user asked, is there a way to rename multiple files in Visual Studio Code? I tried using find and replace, but it didn't work. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So what's the deal with renaming multiple files? Visual Studio Code doesn't have a built-in feature for batch renaming, but there are some clever workarounds we can use. Let's break it down step by step. And don't go anywhere. I'll share a handy extension at the end that will make this process even easier for you. To rename multiple files in Visual Studio Code, the user should first open the Explorer view. This can be done by clicking on the Explorer icon in the activity bar on the side. Next, the user needs to select the files they want to rename. They can do this by holding down the Control key and clicking on each file. Once the files are selected, the user can right-click on one of the selected files and choose the Rename option from the context menu. After selecting Rename, the user can enter the new name for the files. Visual Studio Code will automatically append a number to each file to ensure they have unique names. Finally, the user should press the Enter key to confirm the renaming process. This will apply the new names to all selected files. Fun fact: did you know that the first file management systems were created in the 1960s? They were nothing like what we have today, but they laid the groundwork for modern file handling. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution from another user suggests using the rename command. First, install it using Homebrew with the command brew install rename. Then you can rename files by executing name-sg bar, which replaces foo with bar in all files. That's all on that answer. Let's take a look at another one. One alternative approach comes from a user who mentions that Visual Studio Code does not currently support renaming multiple files at once. However, they suggest using Sublime Text with the Dired package. In Sublime Text, you can enter rename mode by pressing Shift and R. This opens a buffer where each file is listed on its own line. While in rename mode, you can edit all file names simultaneously using multiple cursors, perform find and replace, and even use the text pastry package for advanced renaming options. Unfortunately, the VS Code Dired extension does not offer this functionality, allowing renames only one by one. Let's take a look at an answer from another user. An alternative approach to renaming multiple files in Visual Studio Code is to use a free utility called Everything. This method is quick and efficient. Let's take a look at another answer from another user. An alternative approach to renaming multiple files in Visual Studio Code is to use the terminal. One user suggests running a command in the terminal to change file extensions. For example, to rename all HTML files to PHP, you can use the command rename.html.php in the folder where your files are located. Let's take a look at an answer from another user. An alternative approach to renaming multiple files in Visual Studio Code is through batch renaming. However, this cannot be done directly within VS Code. You can rename files one by one by selecting each file in the Explorer view and pressing F2, or you can batch rename using your operating system's file explorer. Here's the handy extension I promised. Check out the File Utils extension in the Visual Studio Code Marketplace. It allows you to easily rename, delete, and create files with just a few clicks. And there you have it. You now know how to rename multiple files in Visual Studio Code. Remember, using the terminal or a helpful extension can save you a lot of time. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks.